Good afternoon. This is Kent Blaylock with SDG Replays coming to you live this afternoon from North Carolina. And what I have got set up is I'm going to be playing a 16-team schedule for the championship of what I'm calling the Dumpster Fire Invitational. And it's the dumpster fire because it's going to be the 16 lowest seeded or lowest finishing teams in the MLB in 1979. And that will mean you're going to have National League teams playing American League teams in the way they're seeded. And we're going to start off this series with a game. The first round is a best of 5 series with the 8 games presented. The first one we're going to take a look at is going to be the number 1 seeded Houston Astros against the 16th seeded Toronto Blue Jays. And let's go ahead and get them loaded up. And away we go. And let me I have the sound off so there won't be any distractions. But it's going to be, again, the Toronto Blue Jays visiting the Houston Astros. Pitching for the Blue Jays will be Tom Underwood, and for the Astros, J.R. Richard. And let's get into the game. Coming to you live from the Astrodome in Houston. I am going to change the options a little bit. I want to have a little bit of sound in here. The tabletop sounds. And the crowd background. Let's just turn them all on. Let's just be careful of the volume. All right. There we go. Leading off for the visiting Toronto Blue Jays, Alfredo Griffin. Here's the pitch from J.R. Richard. It'll be a ballpark effect. It's going to be an out or a single, and it looks like it's about a 50-50 chance. And he has hit a tapper to the pitcher over to first for out number 1. That will bring up Bob Baylor to the plate, who batted .229 on the season in 1979. J.R. Richard with the pitch. And he strikes him out. So that's 2 up, 2 down.
2 outs, bases empty.
As Roy Howell comes to the plate. Howell in the season batted .247 with 15 home runs. J.R. Richard to the belt. And he strikes him out. 3 up, 3 down. Here in the top of the first.
Bottom of the first.
As we go to the bottom of the first, Terry Puel will step up. Going against Tom Underwood. Puel on the season was .287 with 8 home runs. He grounds it back to the shortstop, over to first for out number 1. That'll bring up Craig Reynolds, batted .265 with a slugging percentage of .333. And he doubles to the center field gap. So with 1 out, man on second.
1 out, man on second.
Cesar Cedeno will come to the plate, batted .262 with 6 home runs. Reynolds on second. Underwood with the pitch. It's a dribbler to catcher. He'll throw him out at first.
2 outs.
And he held Reynolds on second. So 2 outs. Man on second. Jeffrey Leonard to the plate, batted .290 for the season. And he walks Leonard. So with 2 outs, we got a man on first and second, with Enos Cabell coming to the plate, batted .272 with 6 home runs. Underwood toes the rubber as Cabell digs in. Here's the pitch. He pops out to second base.
And 2 left on.
So 1 hit, 2 left on as we go to the second.
Top of the second.
Rick Bassetti to the plate. J.R. Richard toes the rubber. He delivers. A line out to right field as he hits it sharply to Leonard in right field, who reacts quickly for out number 1. John Mayberry to the plate, batted .274 with 21 home runs. As J.R. Richard brings the heat, and he strikes him out.
2 outs, bases empty.
That's 3 strikeouts for Richard so far, as we're in the top of the second. Al Woods to the plate, batted .278 with 5 home runs. He grounds out, hits the ball, a quick chopper back to the pitcher, Richard, over to Cedeno. That will end the top half. As we go to the bottom half of the second, Jose Cruz to the plate, batted .289, 9 home runs. And Underwood strikes him out for his first. That'll bring Art Howe to the plate, but batting .248 with 6 home runs. Deep fly to right field. Baylor underneath it for out number 2.
Bases empty.
That'll bring Alan Ashby to the plate. Second. Alan Ashby to the plate, batted .202 with 2 home runs. And he delivers. Underwood delivers. And he strikes him out.
And just like that, the inning's over.
And that was a quick second inning as we go to the third, still scoreless. J.R. Richard. He'll be pitching to Danny Ainge of Celtic fame. Had his season in '79. Here comes the pitch. And he strikes him out.
1 out, bases empty.
Ainge needs to go to Boston. Now I'll bring up Rick Cerrone, who batted .239 with 7 home runs. J.R. Richard will deal. That's a possible error check on Reynolds. He hits it sharply to short. And Reynolds makes the play, makes the great play over to first to Cedeno for out
2 outs, bases empty.
number 2. That'll bring up the pitcher Underwood to the plate. He'll swing away. And he strikes him out.
2-3.
Now we go to the
Bottom of the third.
bottom of the third. J.R. Richard coming to the plate. He'll swing away. And he hit a short fly into left field. Woods underneath it for out number 1.
Base is empty.
That'll bring Terry Puel back to the plate. as Underwood toes the rubber. As Peel digs in, here comes the pitch. It's a ground out to short. Griffin up with it, over to first.
2 outs.
2
Base is
outs.
empty.
I'll bring up Craig Reynolds. Last time up, he doubled. And he pops it out to second base. And we'll go to the fourth.
Top of the fourth.
No score. J.R. Richard towing the rubber as Alfredo Griffin digs in. And the pitch is delivered. Line drive hit to left field. And Jose Cruz will hold him to a single as he gets the ball quickly back in. So, no outs, man on first, Bob Baylor to the plate. And he strikes him out.
1 out, man on first.
That's strikeout number 6 for J.R. Richard. And that will be number 7 as Roy Howell is sat down.
2 outs, man on first.
That brings up Rick Bassetti with a runner on. 2 outs. J.R. Richard delivers. It's a ball hit to second base.
1 hit and 1 left on.
Quickly over to first for out number 3. As we go to the bottom of the fourth, this game's moving along quickly. Cesar Cedeno to the plate. Underwood delivers. It's an infield hit back to the third baseman. He's out at first for the 5-3 put out.
Base is empty.
That brings up Jeffrey Leonard to the plate. He hits a short fly to center field. Bassetti underneath it for out number 2.
Base is empty.
That will bring Enos Cabell to the plate. 2 outs. No runners on. Tom Underwood delivers. And this will be a fly ball to center field. Bassetti underneath it for out number 3. And we go to the 5th with a scoreless ball game. John Mayberry to the plate. J.R. Richard delivers. It's a possible error check on Art Howe, who does have a good error rating. And it is just above it. He's a 61, and that's pretty good, but the roll of 63, it will be an error, an E3 on Howe.
Man on first.
And here is the pitch. I mean, it would be an E4, excuse me. And he strikes him out.
1 out, man on first.
That will be the 8th strikeout for J.R. Richard as Danny Ainge steps back to the plate. Struck out his first time up.
No runs.
He hits into a double play as he hits into the 4-6-3 double play. As we go to the bottom of the 5th, we're still in a scoreless ball game. Jose Cruz to the plate. Tom Underwood deals. And he will hit a single, an infield single.
2 outs, man on first.
And Cruz, we got to check on a base action, a possible wild pitch from Underwood. And we'll see against his balk rating. And the roll of 1, he does not balk.
No outs, man on first.
Well, that was lucky for him. That'll bring Art Howe to the plate. And he hits into a double play. He hits into the 4-6-3 double play himself.
2 outs, bases empty.
That'll bring up Alan Ashby. He grounds
No
it to
runs,
second
one
for the
hit,
4-3,
and none left on.
put out by Danny Ainge.
Top of the 6th.
So we go to the 6th, still scoreless, with Rick Cerrone to the plate. J.R. Richard, toe on the rubber, and he delivers. Rare play check, and it will be a rare play. Let's see what we got going on here. It's a chopper down the third base line. The third baseman backhands the ball cleanly, but his throw to first base is wide of the mark. We will do a defensive check, and it will be an error. That will be the second error on Houston in this game.
2 outs, man on first.
That will be man on first. Tom Underwood coming to the plate. And I think we'll lay down a sacrifice with him.
He's going to lay down a bunt.
He fouled it off. He pops it out.
1 out, man on first.
And he does not advance the runner. So Underwood fails on the sacrifice. So that'll bring Alfredo Griffin to the plate with Cerrone on first with 1 out. Here's the pitch. And it's a ball that's been lifted into the left field. Ballpark check. And it will be a fly out to left field, a short fly out.
2 outs, man on first.
Will not advance Cerrone as Bob Baylor comes to the plate. And he strikes him out.
2 hits, 1 error, and 1 left on.
As we go to the bottom of the 6th. J.R. Richard to the plate. Underwood delivers. And he strikes his counterpart
Base is empty.
out. That will bring Terry Puel back to the plate. It's 0 for 2 for the day. Underwood delivers. It's a ball hit to the first baseman. And will he be able to beat it out? He does not. He is out at first. They got him by a half step.
2 outs, base is empty.
2 outs. Craig Reynolds to the plate. Tom Underwood into his windup delivery. Reynolds digging in. And he hits the ball to third base. It's a bunt down the line. Can Reynolds beat it out? And he does, as he gets a bunt single.
2 outs, man
Put a
on
runner
first.
on first with 2 outs. And Cesar Cedeno to the plate. He lines it out to
1
Art
hit,
Howe.
and 1 left on.
Not Howe. Howe? What is Howe's first name? Is it Roger? Roy Howe. Roy Howe making the play at third is the first man up here in the top of the 7th. J.R. Richard will be pitching. That's a possible hit to the first baseman. And he is safe. The infield single by Roy Howe.
Man on first.
No outs, man on first. Rick Bassetti to the plate. Richards deals. And it's a single, plus there will be an error check on Alan Ashby. And it will be an error. So we got runners on second and third with no outs here.
No outs, men on second and third.
In the top of the seventh. John Mayberry to the plate. And it's a grounder. It's out at first, but it will score the run from third as Bassetti moves over to third. We have a 1-0 game now in favor of Toronto. And this will be a line out to center field, which will score Bassetti from third. So we have a 2-0 game now as Houston's falling behind 2-0. Now we'll bring Danny Ainge back to the plate. He's 0 for 2 for today. He grounds out to third. Cabell to Cedeno to end out the top half of the seventh. As we go into the seventh inning stretch, Take Me Out to the Ball Game is played, and Jeffrey Leonard steps to the plate. Tom Underwood deals. He flies out to left field. As he lifts it into left field, Woods settles in under it for out number one.
Base is empty.
Now we're bringing Enos Cabell back to the plate. Here's the pitch. And he hits it sharply to Ainge at second. Grounder. Scoring 4-3 for out number two. I'll bring up Jose Cruz to the plate. Underwood still pitching well. So far with a 3-hitter. Okay, rare play check. This time it will not be. And it will be a single by Jose Cruz as he beats out the dribbler to the mound. That'll bring Art Howe to the plate with a runner on first. Tom Underwood delivers. And it's a deep fly out to left field.
And one left on.
To end the inning as we go to the top of the eighth with Toronto leading 2-0. J.R. Richards still on the mound. And he will strike out Rick Cerrone for out number one.
Base is empty.
That's his 10th K for the game. That'll bring up the pitcher Underwood. And that will be strikeout number 11 for J.R. Richards.
2 outs, base is empty.
Which will bring up Alfredo Griffin. 2 outs. No one on. And he will hit a single into left field. As we have a runner on with 2 outs. Here in the top of the eighth. Toronto leading 2-0. Bob Baylor to the plate. And he will promptly give Baylor a free pass. So we have men on first and second, 2 outs here in the top of the eighth.
Men on first and second.
That will bring Roy Howe to the plate. Richard towing the rubber, and he brings the heat. And he strikes him out.
A dozen strikeouts for the game. No runs, 1 hit, and 2 left on. Bottom of the eighth.
So we go to the bottom of the eighth with the visiting Toronto Blue Jays leading Houston 2-0. Alan Ashby coming to the plate. And he walks him. So I feel like at this time I need to bring in a pinch hitter.
No outs, men on first.
Go ahead and pull J.R. Richard. And bring in let's bring in Bergman to pinch hit. Bergman, a 400 hitter, but only 15 at bats in 13 games. So not too hopeful, but Underwood brings it, and it was a leaping catch by Danny Ainge to prevent extra base runners. So we have one out now with Terry Puel back to the plate. Tom Underwood pitching a gem. Short fly out to center field. As he's
2 outs, men on first.
Keeping the goose eggs up on the board as Craig Reynolds steps to the plate. Ashby on first. And it's a fly out to center field to end the inning.
And 1 left on. Top of the 9th.
So we go to the 9th with Toronto leading Houston 2-0. Who will I bring in to pitch? Now let's bring in Sambito. Guess I'm pronouncing that right. Sambito. Sambito coming in. Face Rick Bassetti. And he promptly allows a single to right field.
No outs, men on first.
Bassetti on first. Mayberry steps to the plate. Sambito deals. It's a ground out, but it will move Bassetti over. It's a ground out to the pitcher, who swings it over Cedeno for out number 1. But Bassetti will move to second as Al Woods comes to the plate. And a ground out. A short dribbler in front of the catcher. But it moves Bassetti over to third.
2 outs.
2 outs. Man on third. And Danny Ainge coming to the plate. And he strikes out Ainge.
No runs.
So we go to the bottom of the 9th. Can Underwood close out this game? Can he close out the Houston Astros here in game number 1 of this best of 5 series? Cedeno to the plate. Underwood delivers. And he strikes out Cedeno.
1 out, base is empty.
That'll bring up Jeffrey Leonard. Fly out to center field to Bassetti. Bassetti settles underneath it. He squeezes it for out number 2. And Houston's 1 out away from going down 0-1 in this best of 5 series. Enos Cabell to the plate. Tom Underwood looking to pitch a complete game shutout. Here comes the pitch. And it's a ground out to the pitcher, over to Mayberry at first for out number 3. And that's the first game in our series as Tom Underwood pitched a 4-hitter shutout of the Houston Astros, and this game went 2-0. Hello, Bears Den. That was a pitching duel, kind of a boring game, actually. It went quickly, but Bears Den, just a little explanation of what I'm doing here is I've calling this my Dumpster Fire Invitational from the 1979 season. I seeded the bottom 16 teams in the major leagues in 79. Of course, seeding the one with the most wins being the number 1 seed and the one with the fewest wins, the 16th seed. And this was the 1-16 matchup. The Houston Astros are the number 1 seed, but they lost this game to the number 16 seed, Toronto Blue Jays, 2-0. Again, Underwood pitched a gem. J.R. Richards pitched well too. He just didn't get any run support. He allowed 2 runs. And I only believe all of those were earned. Let's take a look at the box score. Let's scroll down to our pitching because there's not going to be a whole lot to look at as far as hitting is concerned. Yeah, Richards pitched 8 innings, allowing 4 hits and 2 runs, but only one of those was earned because of one of those was allowed on by an error. So, and he struck out 12. So he pitched well, but Underwood, also with a four hitter, but he had better defensive help behind him because there was 3 errors committed by Houston in this game. So that was the tell of the game. The errors by Houston come back to bite them. And that's going to be our game for this afternoon. And I am going to be back with more games in this Dumpster Fire Invitational of these 16 teams. I'm not going to play all of the games. I will simulate some and play some, just picking out the ones that I wanted find interested. I wanted to go with the 1 in 16 matchup to start it out, and it's just this invitational is going to be interesting because we already see the 16 seed taking the first game from the number 1 seed. So we'll be back with more from this, and I hope you will enjoy. Have a great afternoon. Soli Deo Gloria.